Previously, on the Retronomicon, it started with me. Yep, that's me, right there. All I wanted to do was review retro video games on a YouTube channel in a silly shirt, but I started getting tormented by some unseen malevolent force. It took the form of an evil book called the Retronomicon. It's a play on the Necronomicon from Lovecraft, but you got that. Anyway, this thing had a boner for video games, bad games in particular, and quickly encouraged me to review and cleanse my collection of obscure and, well, mostly rubbish games. Somewhere along the way, my shirt was corrupted by this evil, and I was possessed by it, I suppose. Whilst I laid dormant and under his control, he used my body to destroy all my favourite video games. Bummer. Eventually I was able to free myself from his grip, leaving him forever trapped inside my shirt. The torment, it seems, is over, but I can't shake the feeling that something, the end, is coming. No. Fucking no. Yeah. Time to go out and buy me some new games. Fucking hell. I'm not going out in this. Well, I guess there's no harm in ordering it online. Let's see here. What do we start with? Something strong. GOLDENEYE. Original N64 card? Yes. Purchase? Yes. Add to cart? Yep. And payment? There we go. Well, I've gone this long without any games, so what's 24 hours more? Guess we just have to wait.
Hey, you don't know shit about me, did you? Hey, just calm down, okay? It's all gonna be okay.
Shut up, fucking Kurt.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Come on, motherfucker. Come on.
You don't know shit from shut up, buddy. You don't know shit. I mean, my God. You just come in here and spout new crap. I haven't got time for that.
It's not over, douche. I'm back.
hell.
Hi there, I've got a package for you. God, you alright? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Yeah, fine, thanks.
Are you sure? Looks like a spot of PTSD.
I said I was fine.
Oh, okay.
Now, fuck off, will you?
Well, I just need to get a photo.
I
I just need a photo for...
Yes! Let's go play it! Fuck yeah!
Yes.
No, not falling for it this time, stupid brain.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, 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 no! No, 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 no!
More shitty game.
No! No, no, please, no! Hello everybody and welcome back to the Retronomicon. Yes, that's right. He's still alive. Yeah, laugh at that dickhead.
I've missed this douche. You need to know you've missed me, really.
Just get on with it. Please?
Today's topic.
It's this 00 dollop of dubious dung. You know how Bond has a license to kill? Well, this game has one too. A license to kill your very last fucking brain cell. Here's fucking why! Tomorrow Never Dies was the film that immediately followed 1995's GoldenEye and was the second Bond film to star Pierce Brosnan. Think what you like about Brosnan, he was James Bond for me growing up. I know these films are some of the worst, but I, like many, am guilty of some real intense nostalgia. I reserve warm sentiments to all of Brosnan's Bond films, except one. Die Another Fucking Day. That film was and always will be a steaming pile of 00 diarrhea. But no. Nipping that rant in the bud right now. This is a game adaptation of one of Brosnan's better Bonds, which sees the sexist, shallow fuckface of a British intelligence agent face off against a Murdoch-inspired newspaper tycoon. Looking back, this is a big arse scrape on the bottom of that scummy barrel of movie ideas. I guess they hadn't done it before though, so an original villain, I suppose? Gee, how do we follow up on a traitor 00 agent with a personal vendetta turned supervillain? I've got it. This new bad guy runs a newspaper. Yeah, fuck the media, right? Moving on from my pathetic attempt to summarise the film, let's get into the game. But with originality in mind, this game really is just a play-for-play of the film in game form. It originally started out as a sequel to the film, but test audiences rejected it. I want to say I'm surprised, but I'm not. People don't want originality, particularly back in the 90s. Everyone was just content to keep sipping that same old warming, tried and true tea. But now we have a fairly unoriginal film with an unoriginal premise for its game. I can already taste the mediocrity. Going back to what I said before about this being the first Bond game to follow GoldenEye, I've seen a lot of defence for it online, based on its unfortunate release timing, arguing that the game is actually alright if you stop comparing it to its predecessor. This approach is not only silly, but is just so maddening to me. that I'm surprised I didn't start sobbing uncontrollably and eating my own feces.
From hell! It's from hell!
GoldenEye may have been on the N64, superior hardware technically, but Tomorrow Never Dies' release following GoldenEye is no excuse for it being bad. There are plenty of games on the PS1 that prove it possible, regardless of the system's difference in specifications. Understood? Good. Well then. On to actually playing this shit. So hopping into the game, we do have this pretty cool opening trailer-like video. The music is great. They didn't just slap the main theme in there, but did this cool mix, which I like. The FMVs of the game edited together are all fuzzy and poor quality, but I'm still impressed they got so many video clips from the film onto this old-fashioned compact disc. Not gonna lie, this video is selling it to me. Okay, let's play. We start on level 1 and we have this little mission brief video that sums up your objectives with a voice actor that is certainly not Judi Dench and honestly passes off as a piss poor impression.
007, satellite reconnaissance has located a military outpost on the Russian border.
Just gonna say, I feel like there was a reason the GoldenEye boys didn't include voice acting in their game. As we can hear from this, it definitely loses something when the voices are off, particularly as it's a direct play of the film. Enough. Keep getting off track. Time to focus. Never mind. I think I spoke too soon. Don't think there's any focusing here. Oh, Jesus, these graphics are rough. Trying to focus too closely on these visuals will leave you on the porcelain phone to Jesus. Okay, so I know they're only a stone's throw away from classics like Tomb Raider, but let's not forget that this game came out fairly late in the PS1's life cycle, compared to Tomb Raider, which came out right at the start. I know I beat a dead horse a lot on this show, but it bears repeating once more. Why do these late entries always look like experimental release titles? They always just have this feeling that they've been rushed. And it only gets worse as I get into this first level. There's a lot of visual tearing, blocky, uninspired graphics considering its date of release, and initial impressions of the controls are god-awful, but I'll get more into that in a bit. Killing enemies feels very much like a spray and pray kind of deal, and this shortcoming is by no means aided by the game's third-person viewpoint. This was a big point of contention for fans that were eager for more of the first-person style goodness that GoldenEye executed so well. The third-person perspective of this game meant that the player couldn't really be rewarded for accuracy, so the developers opted for a lock-on style system that's represented on screen by this ugly yet unmissable reticle that automatically appears over enemies once you get Bond within range. You just run up to them and fire. Oh yeah, damn. That felt quite good actually, particularly as I didn't have to do fucking anything. The satisfaction I'm feeling here comes primarily from the sound design, which again, we'll get more into later. Continuing with this first level as an example, let's take a look at more of this stunning gameplay and how this Bond load of bollocks controls. The first thing that I noticed at the very beginning of this particular playthrough were all these invisible walls everywhere. The game seems to be marred with them, but none more so than this small opening area at the start of level 1. Let's be honest, the first level is where developers really need to entice the player into their game world. So why in the love of shitty fuckballs can I not at least make it to the embankment here? I mean, look at this. I would have accepted that even though I'm supposed to be a highly capable secret agent with military level training, I would be unable to climb the embankment and go beyond it. But it would have at least been a more natural way to draw the level limits. Instead, we get this completely unnatural force field that is essentially flipping me the bird out of the fucking gate. To me, this is the developer saying, "Oh, you want to explore our game world, do you? Well, too fucking bad. You go where we say you can go." The second thing I noticed was that it feels like you're driving Bond like a car. In the worst way possible. It's like Lara Croft's tank controls on speed. You just go flying into things with the forward momentum you have. Luckily I noticed early on without looking at the controls beforehand, which I'm realising now should be a routine habit for me with these shitty games, that you can have Bond strafe left and right with L2 and R2 respectively. As soon as I started doing this, the game actually started to feel a lot more comfortable control-wise, and I began to really appreciate it. You still have a weird sense of swinging when you turn though, which I hate, and aiming, well, what a shaken, not stirred bucket of piss that is. So after you kill a few guards, which, as I mentioned earlier, is just a matter of standing in front of an enemy and mashing or holding a button, depending on which weapon you have, I suppose, the game intends for me to snipe this guard in its tower. Otherwise, he will keep firing and damage me as I approach. Trouble is, the way in which you move the reticle while in aiming mode is sluggish and feels somewhat unresponsive. And while the hitboxes on these pixelated guards in the distance are fairly forgiving, I swear, before I figured out how to zoom this fucking thing, I was just too far away to hit this guy, which is kind of silly, let's be honest. There was never a point in GolDENEYE where you couldn't hit a guard that was too far away. If you could see the guard, you could hit the guard. In this, if you're too far away, your bullet just will not register. Regardless, after I progressed to the next area, wildly gunning down any son of a bitch that dares stand in my cold, murderous path, I found myself in this large area. And whilst experimenting with the buttons, as you often do, I found that while aiming, you can just press the circle button and the game finds the nearest target for you. I'd imagine this feature was put in the game because they realised that aiming while in first person mode was as painful as working a traffic cone up your ass. I then discovered that it's not just while aiming. Circle is just baby's first gun button. Press it and win. I'm kidding, honestly. Surprisingly, it doesn't actually help at all, and I never used it intentionally, and if I ever did, my sight was almost never taken to the enemy I actually wanted to fucking shoot. Worst yet, all I ever did was accidentally press circle and have my viewpoint fly around, which was really disorientating. I fucking hated it. Anyway, the objective for this first level is to destroy this giant comms dish. We call an airstrike to blow the dish up, and an alarm begins to blare, and it's quite an annoying one to tell you the truth. To progress, it seems we need a key for this door. Soon after, a whole bunch of imbeciles start dropping down from this helicopter. I call them imbeciles because they just drop down from a rope defenseless while you swat them out of the sky. Again, this wasn't challenging or exciting. I was just firing. I was just holding X. One of them then just conveniently drops the key to the locked door, further supporting my claim that I'm fighting an army of fucking idiots. Let's just hope this isn't going to be a brain-dead pattern of game design. I picked up the card and... What the... I picked up the card, Jesus Christ, and opened the door. This next sequence was memorable from when I was a kid, and I realised that I was entering the game's first skiing sequence. I was giddy, I was excited, and then... Oh no. God, no. Fuck. Jesus fucking Christ. This would have been better off remaining a fond memory. I remembered pushing skiing guards over as being fun and much easier than this. They just want you to ski this slope quickly with little interaction, because if you hang about to fight the guards, the game just devolves into a mindless button mash, praying the hitboxes on this little push actually fucking works. Fuck! Oh, and when James gets stuck in these trees, it sounds like he's about to climax. You make it to the end of this section and that's the first level done. It wasn't impressive, it was just plain boring. I don't feel enticed to play more. I just want to shut it off and find something better to do, like stick my dick in a light socket. But no, I'm committed now. Luckily for you though, this is where the review becomes a lot more general, as I begin to broadside this motherfucker's various other problems from his other disappointing levels. So this level has you sniping guards with an infrared scope at night. Pretty fucking sweet, right? No! You shoot away with this sniper rifle hitting nothing but air. Time and time again. The moment you miss, that motherfucker's shooting at you and just... somehow, he's able to snipe you with an AK-47 with no fucking problems. Give this guy promotion. Not only is he invincible, but he's the best marksman in the fucking game. More to the point, this sequence was abysmal. It should have been a really cool and fun moment, but instead, it was just easier to run at the enemy blindly firing and strafing. A pattern that will continue, I assure you. Another example of something that would have been better off as a distant memory is this driving sequence at the second half of this stage. This was something that GolDENEYE only experimented with a couple of times with an optional tank, and it was incredibly exciting to see implemented. Yet, upon revisiting, I realised it is just as badly implemented as the skiing sections. The big difference here being that you can actually hit things by shooting at them with your car's weapons, the machine guns, and a missile launcher. I thought this was going to be the moment that redeemed the game, because I remembered it so vividly as a kid. But it's just as mindless as anything else in the game, firing constantly and hoping that the goddamn hit detection actually works. I swear, these missiles are supposed to lock on here, but I just have no idea what's hitting and what isn't. While credit is certainly due for being the first to have such a stage, with the vehicle stages becoming a staple of future installments such as the highly beloved PS2 entry Nightfire, the resulting mechanics came out as yet more holding a button while using medipacks. This was ambitious as fuck, but it simply doesn't hold up. Like my dick. Frame rate issues are also aplenty with this shit smear of a video game. I usually defend games with bad frame rates, usually because they are ambitious and pushing the limitations of their hardware, as well as usually not affecting the player experience per se, but you just can't defend this game's frame rate most of the time. The last level in particular was full of these huge frame drops, which nearly makes the game unplayable. As you don't really know when these massive spikes in lag are going to happen, you spend a lot of time anticipating it, which is just plain silly. I mean, this is the worst part of the game for it. This missile room at the end of the final level. I understand that there's a lot going on graphically here, and this is by far the largest area in the game, but I'd rather the game didn't end with this shit. Speaking of endings, after you've defeated Carver, the game's final boss, you deactivate the missile and then have a time limit to run back to the start of the level. It's actually pretty tense, and despite the game's frame rate slowing down to glacial speeds, I liked the idea, as the game throws a bunch of final guards for you to gun down as you run back through the level's corridors. But then you make it to the end and... okay. Guess I'll save and watch the ending cutscene. It has to make up for that pitiful... You won the game. Good job. Oh, so no credit sequence or anything? I went through all that for... Now you can watch the movies from the options menu. Whoop-de-fucking-do. What a crock of absolute shit. There are also a couple of moments in the game that leave you scratching your head as what to do. Sometimes it can be as simple as missing one particular thing that you have to go back for. I would accept this as part of the game's puzzle solving aspect, but the way in which the guards will often spawn directly in front or directly behind you makes it extremely infuriating and forces you to continue playing a game of health management. Bond gets stuck on everything. Stuck on walls, stuck on trees, stuck in a gap, stuck waiting for a dead guard to despawn. Fuck this game. Fucking seriously. Bullshit. Expletives. The game only has a meager 10 stages compared to the 15 levels that GoldenEye had. You could also play 3 difficulties out the gate compared to this game's 2 difficulties, which isn't too big a point of contention or anything, but perhaps would have offered much more replay value, particularly as, like I talked about in my GoldenEye video, those difficulties would affect general gameplay difficulty, as well as including more objectives that were often much trickier and posed a greater challenge in terms of experimentation and problem puzzle solving. Tomorrow Never Dies just makes everything a bit harder to kill and makes you a bit easier to kill. Pretty boring stuff, really. The bosses are extremely unimaginative, generally speaking, but what pisses me off the most is that every single one is a matter of just standing there, strafing occasionally while holding the fire button. That's it. That's it. Most bosses have this number over their head which represents the percentage of their health, always starting at 100. You just have to keep firing and firing until that number drops to 0. That's it. No strategy, just blast them with everything you have before you run out of medipacks. Just like most things in this game, it's another exercise in resource management and blindly firing and strafing at the enemy. There's really only one boss that I can recall that I didn't approach like this, and that's the helicopter in the penultimate Saigon stage. This thing doesn't have a health meter, which you would think would make the fight a bit more tense, as you don't know how much damage you're doing. However, you don't lock onto this thing like the humans you fight, so you have to stop, take aim, and fire the rocket launcher at it. But like I covered earlier, with the appallingly sluggish way in which you aim and shit, you're bound to get hit by the chopper as it flies over, meaning this fight isn't so different from the others after all. You just stand there and shoot. Stand and shoot. Stand and shoot. It's just you aim and press the button. You just have to make sure you have enough medipacks and ammo, and if you don't, periodically run around the area until you gather more resources. I died here a couple of times before I realised that there's this little secret ledge full of medipacks, ammo and armour. A crusty piece of wall here that seems to be tearing a lot more than the rest of the environment can be blasted away with the rocket launcher to get up to the ledge. Without this, you're pretty fucked for the chopper, honestly, as you're likely going to have all your health drained from the ball ache that is this level. Like the previous boss in the level, which just so happens to be the one carrying the rocket launcher. What makes this guy so special anyway? He's by no means the toughest boss or anything, but why does he have so much more health than the other green-wearing guards? What? Anyway, all you need to know is that the bosses in this game are probably the dumbest thing about it. That and the fact that guards can just spawn behind you at a moment's notice and drain your health away extremely quickly. It's fucking ridiculous. You may have noticed I have yet to really praise this game in any way. Every point I've had to make so far has been a damning criticism. I've strung this thing up in a torture dungeon and pissed in its face, but let me tell you, the music in this game is some of the best I've heard on the PlayStation. I've said this with many games on the channel, but it holds true for this game as well. In fact, the sound design is so good that it actually made playing some levels a semi-enjoyable experience. I mentioned the music at the beginning being fucking awesome, and they bring that track back for several tense moments and boss fights throughout the game. It's a truly kick-ass metal version of Bond and I absolutely love it. Yeah, I had a little dig at the voice acting earlier, mainly from Duty Jench in these level openings, and P.R. Schnosnan doesn't fare so well either.
You're going to have a nuclear disaster.
But other than that, the sound effects are fantastic. Weapons sound great when you fire them, particularly the rocket launcher, which lets out a thunderous boom, as do fuel tanks and other things when you blow them up. Level music was also really great, and it was hard for me to fault it. Some songs repeat a little too often, I suppose. The aforementioned main theme that I loved so much was used perhaps a few too often for boss fights and lost a bit of its effect, but overall the sound and music is where this game shines. I also particularly like the music of the main menu. Clearly the composers could do a lot more with the Bond theme, as the game was so closely tied to the film and license. And it shows. There are however a lot of weird hiccups with the sound that happened for seemingly no reason. The music would just flat out stop in some small areas of the level, which I think sometimes happens to build tension before entering the area of a boss fight, for example. But other times it just seemed to happen randomly, so I didn't really get it. Now, I've made a lot of comparisons to GolDENEYE in this review because why the fuck wouldn't I? For the public at the time, this was a sequel, so it's worth treating it as such. To return to my point from the start of this review, this game was either a mess in terms of its production cycle, rushed to meet a deadline, in this case the release of the film as the game was to be released alongside it, or, well, both. GolDENEYE, comparatively, was lovingly created by passionate developers who outright refused to be pressured by the gaming studio execs. So much so that they delayed the release of their game by 2 years. It was originally supposed to be released alongside the film, like this one, but Doak Ellis and company took the extra time to make a product to be proud of, a game that would withstand the test of time with immaculate gameplay. Tomorrow Never Dies appears to be, as we're used to seeing on this show, just another shameless cash-in on a popular franchise. As for a retrograde, well, it was quite tough really, because I've definitely played worse. But I think it only seems fair that it gets a straight D. No plus, no minus, just a straight D. For dire, dopey and detestable design that delivers nothing but despicable dickery and definitive dumbassery. So, that's Tomorrow Never Dies for the PlayStation 1. While it definitely had some heavily nostalgic moments for me on revisiting it, those youthful memories of joy and wonder were intermittently tainted by moments of sheer frustration and bitter disappointment. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Retronomicon. I guess nothing around here really changes. I'm stuck with this immortal arsewipe forever.
Don't worry, douche. The end is coming.
Until next time. Subscribe! Oh. Sorry, I thought the episode was over. Oh, alright, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, douche. I mean, dude, I've got to give you this one as well.
Thanks.
Douche.